Hello, good evening everybody. Um, Welcome to DFI FYI, a webinar hosted by the District Finance and Fundraising Committee. This webinar will be generally a informational one where you're learning more about the DFI's, our district fundraising initiatives, Pediatric Trauma Program, the UNICEF Eliminate Project, and Not for Sale. These three DFIs have been the district fundraising initiatives for the past 2 years of our district, and we've accomplished quite a lot with these fundraising initiatives. Tonight, this webinar will be presented by me and my two lovely committee members who will introduce themselves right now. Where's Kay?
Hi guys. Oh, I can go. Can you hear me? Okay. Oh, hi. I'm Kay. I'm from UC Berkeley, and I'm the current fundraising chair.
Yes. And our other presenter is Phil Lee.
Hi there guys, my name is Phil Lee, I'm from OCC.
Yes. And my name is Hans Mainbahn, and I'm from UC Riverside. First up, just an explanation about our DFIs, or District Fundraising Initiatives. Basically, these are organizations or projects that our district chooses to fundraise money for. For example, Not for Sale. That's a nonprofit organization that aims to combat modern-day slavery and all that. And our DFIs usually have a large coordinated impact that allows us to amplify the impact that each club makes. Yes. Kay can also talk more about it.
So basically what Hans said, they stand for District Fundraising Initiatives, and as you will learn in this webinar, the organizations that we work with really give a visible impact rather than us like giving money to someone and never seeing it again. We get to see the effects of it, and it's really, really quite awesome.
Cool beans. Thanks, Kay. Alright, so now we'll go into a little bit more specifically about our DFIs, and Phil can talk about Pediatric Trauma Program, and I'll give control of my keyboard and mouse to him right now.
Alright there, hi everyone. Okay, so Pediatric Trauma Program, or known short as PTP, was actually established by our very own Kiwanis in the Kalnev-Hav region. So it was established in 1994, and this has been near and dear to this district's heart, not only in the Kiwanis, but also Circle K and Key Club as well. And yes, it's Pediatric Trauma Program, not Pediatric Trauma Prevention. A lot of people get that mistaken. Okay, so what exactly is pediatric trauma? I know you guys always talk about, pediatric trauma prevention and whatnot, but how many of you guys actually know what pediatric trauma is? Well, technically the dictionary definition of the word is injury to an infant, child, or adolescent that causes trauma. Now, this definition isn't very clear, but basically, if you ever heard of people saying, oh, I probably got hit on the head as a child, that's a sort of trauma, but we're talking about more of trauma basically where the child isn't safely secured and say like, when they're riding their bicycle or when they're not buckled up safely in the car. Unintentional injury is actually the #1 killer of children under the ages of 14. And the reason why is because as you're a young child, your bone structure and your body organs are still developing. So you're a lot more, children are a lot more sensitive to receiving injury, and it can also cause, internal organ damage as well. But luckily, 90% of these accidents can be prevented, through safe, secure padding for bicycles, including your helmet, also securing the seatbelt. And also another interesting fact is trauma kills more children every single year than disease, homicide, and suicide. So that's why our Cal-Nevha region decided to go and create this Foundation Pediatric Trauma program to basically prevent all this, all these deaths from happening. Okay, so where do the funds go to? So you create an event and fundraise, but where exactly do these funds go? So first, it goes grants to our partner hospitals, so that it funds these wards where these children who have received trauma can be treated. Secondly, it goes to grants to Kiwanis and service leadership program clubs. So basically, if you are in need of creating some sort of service product, say, supplying bicycle helmets and padding, as these kids in the picture here. Look at them; they're so happy that they're safe from pediatric trauma. You can write a grant to the Kiwanis and Service Leadership Program. And basically, they will help fund in part of your service project. And last but not least, PTP safety items, which bicycle helmets, so on and so forth, and they're available for purchase at a subsidized cost, meaning lower than it would be. So in case these families can't exactly afford these safety items, therefore we can provide, or the Kiwanis can provide it to them at a lower cost. Now, this is just an overview of PTP. There is a quiz following through, which Hans will provide, just to make sure that you guys were paying attention. So, leaving it up to Hans.
Actually, I don't know if I can provide it. I don't know. Because of technicalities and all that. There you go. Thank you, Kay.
So take some time to fill out the quiz and let us know what you actually learned about PTP. Coming up next, Hans will present the Eliminate project.
Okay. Thank you, Phil, for presenting the Pediatric Trauma Program. Next up. Uh-oh. There you go. Next up, I'll be talking about the UNICEF Eliminate project. Actually, fun fact of the day, UNICEF is one of our international service partners. Fun fact. I don't know if anyone else knew that. But what the Eliminate project aims to do is to eliminate maternal and neonatal tetanus, as you can see by the highlighted letters there. Going more in depth about what maternal neonatal tetanus is. Tetanus is generally a bacteria that lives underground in the soil, but what maternal neonatal tetanus is, or MNT, this one is specific, as the name suggests, to children and their mothers. Usually this is caught during childbirth, or usually during childbirth, when there's unclean surfaces that doctors use, as if they don't clean their hands or use unclean instruments when helping the mother give birth. And that's how usually tetanus is spread about or contracted by the child. But after the child does have or does contract tetanus, it's pretty sad. It's also pretty gruesome, in my opinion, because the child the child can't like feel touch because it's super hypersensitive, because the tetanus is affecting the spinal cord and the nerves and everything like that. The body, like, it's super rigid. It's not a pleasant sight, basically. Usually children don't live very long after contracting tetanus, maternal neonatal tetanus. But this is what UNICEF aims to eliminate in partnership with Kiwanis International. Let's see, next slide. What the Eliminate Project has planned. It has this 5-year plan. As we can see, year 1 was like to lead, year 2 was inspire. This year, 2013, is to participate, and by next year, 2014, they plan to hit their goal, and then oddly enough, they celebrate it on the 5th year, along with the 100th anniversary of Kiwanis International. But yeah, last year it was to inspire, broaden support and announce progress, and I feel like we have educated many people about Eliminate this past year, but in this upcoming year, in the next term, we should aim to participate, aim to continue with fundraising, stay motivated, keep up all the awesome progress that we've had. Where the funds go toward, basically, if you don't know already, it's $1.80 for a vaccination, and the vaccination is a series of 3 shots given to a mother. But the importance of this, it's relatively cheap to vaccinate a mother, but once a mother is vaccinated, then she and her children will also be immune from maternal neonatal tetanus. And that goes a long way, because that means for the rest of her life and for her children's lives, they're immune from tetanus, and it's eliminated. Yay. We also fund the funds also go towards UNICEF grants, and these grants help UNICEF, the organization, to directly help the countries that still do have maternal and neonatal tetanus. As of February 20th, Circle K International as a whole has raised $84,000 and $706.81. But the entire project together, as of January 16th, I believe, has raised over $24.5 million. I still think, it's a great number and all, but there's still a lot more to do. As we can see, there's still 30 countries that still have maternal neonatal tetanus still rampant and abounding and all that. But ever since Kiwanis has joined up with UNICEF in 2010, 10 countries have eliminated MNT. Most recently, East Timor, Tanzania, China, and Cameroon since like October 2012. So progress is there. The progress is still showing and all that. But we still should help out with Eliminate and all that. And that's that. I believe Kay will provide us with a link for a little quiz. Cool. So next up, Kay will talk about Not for Sale. And I'll give keyboard and mouse to Kate.
Okay, sorry. There's some. Oh, here we go. Okay, so I'll be talking about our last and youngest DFI, which is Not for Sale. And Not for Sale is a nonprofit American organization whose primary goal is to re-abolish slavery. So I'm not sure if many of you know this, but there are actually more slaves now in the world than there ever has been. So even like Civil War, pre-colonial times, like there are more slaves now, and there are an estimated 30 million slaves across the globe. I'm sorry, and over 100,000 in America alone. So it's not an issue that we are exposed to too much because we really don't know much about it. But it can literally be in your own neighborhood, and you really wouldn't know. Sorry. So to, I guess, define trafficking, it is the recruitment, transportation, transfer, harboring, or receipt of people or a person. So basically, this means that human beings are being literally objectified as objects, as goods that can be sold. And trafficking includes, but is not limited to, the following: sex trafficking, forced begging, forced labor, and domestic services. So really any instance where a human being is treated as, again, a commodity and is traded for money is an instance of trafficking. And it's like when people think of slavery, they probably think of, Civil War, like picking the cotton on the field, but it's not like that. It really isn't. And that's something that people need to be aware of, because if they aren't, then they won't recognize trafficking when they see it. And so the purpose of trafficking is exploitation. Exploitation is basically the use of a human being in an unjust or cruel manner. And this is usually against the victim's will. And in the words of the Trafficking Protocol, exploitation shall include, at a minimum, the exploitation of the prostitution of others, or other forms of sexual exploitation, forced labor, or services, slavery or practices similar to slavery, servitude, or the removal of organs. So, yeah, I don't think people would want those things to happen. So those are instances of exploitation. And to just so Not for Sale really works to help abolish slavery and to raise awareness about modern day slavery and trafficking. So these are the funds that, these are some of the causes that the funds the money we raise go to. So international projects. Not for Sale aims to build rehabilitation centers that provide safety, skill training, education, and job opportunities for victims. So usually in places like third world countries, people really don't have as many opportunities and resources as, let's say, America does. So Not for Sale helps build these areas where they can go to train themselves and to reintroduce themselves into society. The second is social enterprises. Funds can go toward mass marketing product opportunities in high-risk areas. At-risk individuals and survivors have the chance to achieve sustainable income. So victims are usually kind of brought into trafficking because of money, because they need money. There are instances where people would lie to victims and say, oh, you'll be working here, so come, but then they're really exploited and dragged into trafficking, or they actually willingly sell their bodies because they need the money. And so with these social enterprises, Not for Sale works with businesses and companies to create job opportunities for at-risk individuals. And just to discuss some of the impacts of the money that we raise, In July through September of 2012, over 900 people were directly supported by the funds raised. And since 2007, Not for Sale has provided $1.9 million in medical supplies to high-risk nations. So if you think about it, we're helping over 900 people in a 3-month period, which is really astounding. And so it just really shows how large of an impact that we're making with, by fundraising for Not for Sale. So that's something you guys should really be proud of.
Cool beans. Sorry. Haha. But yeah, thank you, Kay, for presenting Not for Sale, and hopefully even I've learned more from this. Yeah. So, just like a general overview of like what clubs do across our district to fundraise for our DFIs. As you can see, there's a lot of different fundraisers that clubs do fundraise and put on for our members. Like for example, K-Rock or Kids Rock or the crazy competitions. Those go for Pediatric trauma program. Or even UC Davis and their cow tipping competition. But as you can see, like there's an unlimited variation of what we can do to fundraise money for our DFIs. From a benefit concert to garage sales to putting up a masquerade ball. We do a lot, and it shows that we enjoy that putting up these fundraisers and stuff. Phil can also talk about more types of fundraisers that we have.
These are just a couple of examples of fundraisers, but if you want more information about how these fundraisers are set up, I suggest you talk to the presidents of their respective schools, or you can come talk to any one of us in the Five Fund Committee, because we kind of have like an overview of how fundraisers go, and we are a pretty large knowledge base. So yes, that's it for examples of fundraisers. Now, back to Hans.
Okay. I'm sure Kay also has stuff to talk about, examples of fundraisers too, but let me try to click here. It's not letting me click. Oop. Okay. But that's it for our webinar. If anyone has any questions, here's our contact information. But does anyone have any questions to ask me or Kay or anyone else in the Five Fund Committee? How do I know if there's questions? I can't see the question box, but okay. Okay, but if there are no other questions, I guess we'll give it a few more minutes. Here's an interesting question. What is Autism Speaks? That's a nonprofit organization that aims to educate people about autism and help families with children who do have autistic children. But that's what Autism Speaks is.
Okay. All right. We have another question from Timothy Strong. What has been the most effective way of spreading awareness for the DFIs / these issues in general in your personal experiences or what you've seen? That's an excellent question, actually. And Kay can actually answer it, so I'll let her take this.
So there are many different ways that people can spread awareness about our DFIs. A couple ways that I find effective is, for one, we do Happy Stat Change at UC Berkeley, and every time we introduce our piggy bank, we talk about, oh, this money goes to our DFIs. And sometimes we will mention a specific one and its cause. So that's one way of spreading it to the general members. Another way is to just have something, I guess, informational about the DFIs at any of your fundraisers. So for example, if you're selling food to the general public, just maybe make a little flyer with all the information about our DFIs and just pass it out when someone stops by the table or buys a food item, I suppose. So yeah, I mean, there are many different ways that you can spread the word about our DFIs, either to your club, other Circle K members, or to the general public.
Right, and also in addition, sometimes the fundraising chair or our treasurer or your treasurer in your club also is can present a DFI workshop, since that information is passed down from the district treasurer to all the treasurers in the schools as well.
One thing that I'd like to add too, it's also like when I teach my non-Circle K friends about what we do with Circle K, I think that's like one of the best ways to teach people about our DFIs. Like if I tell them that my friend's putting up an event, a fundraising event, and they ask, what it's for, it's a great opportunity to tell them all about what PTP or the Eliminate Project or Not for Sale is. So me personally, I think it's like hitting it right there with, we do all this awesome work with Circle K, and that's just a great way to educate more people about why we do this. Does anyone have any other questions? Oh, here's one. Are we having a new DFI for the next term? Generally, that is decided upon by the 5-1 committee and the district board to see if there will be a new DFI. And go to Decon if you haven't registered for it, so you'll know. Aha, yeah. Okay. Well, if there's no other questions, thank you. Oh no. Thank you everyone for attending and listening to our webinar. I hope that you've learned something new and you could share this with your friends and family and all that fun stuff. But thank you and enjoy the rest of your evening.